What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here, back again with another Wild Eye Wednesday review. And this time it's the film And Then You Die, released by Wild Eye. This was part of a recent Hamilton Books haul that I received. Some of you may have seen that unboxing, unpackaging video. I believe this cost $1.95. This is an independent horror film, independent horror slasher. Your bad day just got worse. Pretty much sums it up. I enjoyed this film. It was fun to watch. And I actually watched, you see the bonus features there. You've got commentary and alternate scenes and trailers. So I'll show you which trailers are included. And also for the alternate scenes, there's just a few of them. There were just some variations of scenes that were in the film. Nothing too different, or frankly nothing too interesting about those. I mean, they were just some different takes almost. And then a commentary. Did not intend on watching the whole film again with the commentary, but I'll tell you, it wasn't too bad. It was very interesting. Very interesting to see what they had to say. So for this review, let's go over the film real quick first, and then I want to talk a little bit about what I learned from the commentary about just what it is to make these independent films, a lot of which we take for granted. Alright, I had to move inside here. The neighborhood dogs were getting a little loud out there. So let's just take a look at the description. Your bad day just got worse. Sam Wallace has had a rough life, dumped on by everyone, a real human doormat. Okay, so you see when he's a child, you see him witness domestic violence, and then you see him go into the foster care system where he experiences domestic violence, and then as he's an adult, he has the worst day of his life. So after having the worst day of his life, the tables are about to turn when he returns from the dead to avenge all those who wronged him. And payback is a bloody mess. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. There's a pretty long scene in the beginning. It goes on a while, and and I'm not complaining about it, where his day unfolds and everything that can go wrong goes wrong. And watching the commentary was interesting because they were just going to show like a real quick scene of him getting ready for work in the morning, but they decided to extend it just to show you the sort of the detail of what's going on. He wakes up late. He's trying to get into the bathroom. His wife's in there. Now his wife's in there. She's getting all dolled up. So you're like, what's going on here? Doesn't look like she's gonna, I mean, some people dress like that to go to work, but I mean, she's really getting dolled up. And she's just like, no, you're not coming in here. I'm in this bathroom. Like, just very rough, cold. And so he's running late. He cuts himself, everything. He cuts himself shaving. He's got his coffee mug or his coffee cup, like a travel cup, on top of his car. The neighbor comes to complain about yelling. He drives off with the cup on top of the car. He calls his work. He's like a car salesman. They're saying, man, if you're late this time, this is going to be it. You're going to be fired. His boss is a jerk. The other salesman who answers the phone, he's a jerk. And then he runs out of gas, okay? He tries to flag down. Oh, first of all, he's trying to pass somebody driving like hauling like a farmer type dude, hauling like a wood chipper behind a pickup truck. The guy messes with him a little bit and then lets him pass, but gives him the finger. There's lots of that. Later, when he runs out of gas, that guy passes him again, gives him the finger. I mean, a bunch of kids in a pickup truck pass by. They're like, hey, because at one point he grabs a gas can, and he starts walking to try to find some help. And they're like, you want to ride? And then when he's about to jump in the back, they take off. They laugh at him. He comes back. He has a confrontation at someone's house that doesn't go well. He goes back to his car. The police are there in the tow truck. The police pull a taser on him and basically tell him to shut up, and the tow truck driver's rude to him. I mean, it's the worst day ever. So he finally just makes his way back home. And lo and behold, the reason he called his best friend at one point, his air quotes here, his best friend. And he didn't answer. Well, he goes back to his house, and the reason his wife was getting all dolled up is she's getting busy with his supposed best friend. So there's a confrontation, and he is hit on the head, and it seems to be dead. The couple, the wife and the boyfriend, take him out to be buried, and lo and behold, that pickup truck full of kids, they're going camping right in the area. There's some pretty fun characters in this. As they're pulling up to go camping, as this guy comes out, he turns out he's the uncle of one of the boys, and he's like a real jerk. He's got all these rules you have to follow. So anyway, they start setting up their tents, and the commentary. I'll just mention one thing from the commentary. They were talking about how some of the guys were having a lot of trouble setting up the tents, and they were laughing. And when I rewatch it, you can kind of see that. That was kind of funny. But anyway, Sam, turns out he's not dead. He wakes up, and for much of the rest of the film, you have this guy who is, I don't know, between 30 and 40 maybe, overweight, balding, wearing glasses, a shirt and tie, until he strangles somebody with it. Just almost silently, wordlessly, at least for a while, just encountering everybody that he encountered in the first part of the film and just killing them, okay? With a variety of weapons, crowbars, machetes, all kinds of things. And, he goes after the campers, and it's just, everybody that wronged him is going to cross his path. And this is the kind of film where, if you see a wood chipper, guess what? The wood chipper is going to be used, okay? If you see somebody grilling some burgers on a grill, the grill is going to be used somehow, okay? And that's pretty much it. It was strangely mesmerizing. I mean, it's like as I said, he's not Michael Myers. He looks like this, but when he got going, it's like you couldn't really stop watching him. Okay, and eventually he makes his way back home to where his the wife and the boyfriend, who's, by the way, he's played by Christopher Hunt, who was in a lot of independent films, including Mr. Bonejangles. And that scene is a little rough. I mean, he does sort of get his revenge at the end. There's a little, not really a twist, but there's a little final thing that happens. It almost goes like full circle back to the beginning. And it's a pretty good ending. Overall, pretty good film. I enjoyed it. It's also on Tubi, by the way, if you want to check it out. Again, this is a low-budget independent horror. They get a lot out of it. Watching the special features, it really gives you an appreciation for all the work they put into this. A lot, like I said, the acting was pretty good. The one the one actress, I believe it was Lindsay McIntyre, I think she's in the commentary. So she's in the commentary, Chuck Smith the star, and the director Daniel Murphy. It's interesting, he's from Great Britain, but now he lives in Indiana, where he makes films. I guess they got her mom to play a small part, so she comes out and sees her husband dead and lets out a scream, and apparently they had to do it like 10 times. And she was, she's not a professional actress. And when I was watching it, that scream was wasn't the best scream you ever hear in a movie. I'll tell you that much. There's also another, usually the killer, Sam, will sneak up on someone and they're kind of scared, and in that moment of being like shocked, there's a guy with a bloody shirt and a weapon in front of them. He makes his move. In one of the confrontations, he takes on a guy who's probably actually bigger than him. And, it's not 100% convincing that he's able to get him in some, like, almost like a submission hold, like, right away. But it's okay. I mean, it's a fun one. And one of the things there's a scene where they're driving, and it's just interesting to hear the director and some of the cast say, "Hey, how did you do that?" Well, they had the other director like squish down into the passenger seat, pointing the camera up. You just take it for granted. How these films are made a lot of times, and a lot of times they really got to put themselves in uncomfortable situations, like literally like contorting their bodies sometimes to get up and close and personal. And then as far as the violence goes, the fight scenes, they were talking about some mishaps, even in some of the alternate takes and things. There was a scene where one of the actresses, he comes up and he grabs her head, and apparently he poked her in the eye with his thumb. And then another scene where an actress has her head sort of slammed on the table, and then when he lifts her head up, they were saying, okay, here comes the goose egg, and she's got a big old goose egg on her forehead. I mean, it's big. I mean, she connected pretty hard, but apparently that was actually in the rehearsal. So and they talked about like some of the gore effects, including the scene with the wood chipper. I mean, they were laughing at it in the commentary because apparently they use some deer guts, and then some articles of clothing go through, but they're like, yeah, I guess the bones just disintegrate. They were kind of making light of how, what that looked like. Yeah, a lot of the effects are good. There's lots of blood. It looks pretty good. Like I've mentioned in The House of Salem, you see the killer often swinging an implement, and then you see the after effects. You don't see the actual penetration. And apparently they had to really work on, there's some rods and things stuck right through people. There's a lot of that, and apparently they had to sort of rig like a strap that would go around half of the body and make it look realistic, and they really did a good job with all those type of effects. But anyway, also one thing about the commentary, it didn't really bother me that much, but it was a little bit out of sync. So sometimes I can hear in two ways. I can hear the movie, like the actors saying their lines twice, like almost like an echo, and then I think the individuals reacting or commenting to the movie, it was almost like they were seeing the scenes a half second or maybe like 2 full seconds before we were. So they were like, oh, there's the flannel shirt, and then like 2 seconds later you would see someone wearing a flannel shirt. It didn't really take me out of it or anything. I mean, I was mostly just concentrating on what they said, but I did notice that. I don't know if that's would be consistent with every physical copy, but yeah, anyway, I just thought that was pretty interesting. I also want to mention, the cover is just a cool cover. It's really has nothing to do with, you don't see any black gloves or a skull face at all. I mean, obviously, I'm looking through the catalog. That's what sold me. Bam. So I got something different, but I'm not really mad about it. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. If you like Wild Eye films, if you like independent horror films, I think this is a pretty good one. Thanks a lot, guys. Later. And if you're interested in Blood Moon River, which was also directed by Daniel Murphy and is also an HM&M film production, check out the Horrific Nightmares JM review of that film.